Hello everyone, welcome back for another podcast. So what have I been up to? As you can see, for those of you that don't follow us on social media so much, I've been building this workshop, whatever you want to call it. On and off, basically in between work. Obviously I work away from home, so you know, I've been coming back and doing little odds and sods. So some of you will have noticed that there has been a change in the name or the branding, whatever, however you want to look at it. So it is now, or I am now, DW Woodworks, which is obviously my initials. And the reason for this is because I went out and there's a little guy under there, a Festool track saw. This is one of the newer track saws. This is a cordless track saw, and it runs off 2 batteries. So basically that's the whole reason why I had to change my name. Basically, you've got people on social media that would point out that I'm not unplugged 100% anymore, which is, that's fair enough. You know, it is what it is. I wish I could have left the name alone. It would have been less hassle and less stress, but you know, just to keep things real and everything. So that's the sole reason why I changed the name, basically. I'm still obviously going to be doing a lot of hand tool woodwork. I love me hand tools. The primary reason why I bought the track saw was me back. It's just plain and simple as that. I'm pretty much good when I'm doing everything, even sawing when I'm bent over on a Roman workbench and I'm sawing on a Roman workbench or a low bench. I'm totally fine. It's when I'm doing it for extended lengths of time. Say, you know, I've got some long boards to rip. I might have multiple boards to rip. So you know, there might be, I don't know, over the course of a day there might be, like, let's just say like an hour's ripping, or ripping and cross-cutting combined. There might be an hour. Now an hour doesn't sound a lot, but with someone who's got a damaged back like myself, at the end of the day it can just, you know, it can just play havoc on my back. So there was that aspect of it. This has been coming for a long time. You know, I've said countless times I'm not averse to using power tools. You know, I started off like power tools, I think it was about like, I'm not sure, about 7 years ago I was using a table saw. But obviously I find I get better results, you know, using hand tools. But that being said, you can't take away the quick and ease of multiple cuts with a track saw, for instance. So I did go for the Festool. I did do a lot of research, and you know, I basically just decided to go for that. I thought to myself, if I'm going to go to the hassle of rebranding and changing everything and whatever else, and you know, I want something good. So Festool has got a lot of good reports. So I went with it. Do I think it's overpriced? I personally think it is slightly overpriced, but it is a good bit of kit. I must say I was well impressed with the battery life. Battery life pretty cool. Dust extraction, I couldn't believe the dust extraction. It's only going into a little bag as well. The dust extraction was phenomenal, blew me mind. The noise, it isn't too bad. Obviously you still got to use ear protection, but you know, it isn't too bad. So yeah, I'm glad I got it. You know, I have used it. Ironically, ironically, I should have bought it before I started the shed build or the workshop build. But you know, I did kindly get it when I started doing the interior. So all of the inside OBS boards were cut with the track saw. The floorboards weren't cut with the track saw. It would have been good to have it, but as I said, better late than never. Anyway, my back's already feeling the benefit from it. So today I have had a few questions. So today I am just going to be kind of going over the builds and, you know, the materials cost, a rough cost that is, and just some other things, just basically all about this this build I've been doing. So the basic construction of it, you know, I've got 6x2s for the floor joists, 6x2s for the roof joists. The walls are 3x2. On the outside, I've used tongue and groove cladding. The reason I used tongue and groove cladding was because at the time I couldn't get my hands on any shiplap. I would have preferred the shiplap. I just think it would have been a bit better. The order of which I built this was a bit mismatched here and there, and that was basically just to accommodate the weller, the beautiful weller we had here when I decided to build this thing. So you might be wondering why I decided to build this right like now in the middle of winter, and that was basically because I was trying to get my van finished off. I built like a bed slash storage for the back of me van. I think I made a video about this. I think basically there's no screws or anything in it, and it's basically just mortise and tenon joints for a lack, or slots if you will, and this is just all made out of plywood. And it's designed to be able to be fitted to the van or taken away from the van, you know, within about 5 minutes. That was the whole idea behind it. So I actually did complete that, and I was making the kitchenettes, or what's going to be the kitchenette. Still not finished, ironically. And that was the driving force which made us pretty much just lose my temper with the weller. And I just went down and I didn't check the weller or anything. It was just like bad weller. I didn't think about, you know, kind of checking the weller, how it was going to be. I just went out in anger, ordered the materials, paid for the materials, and the materials arrived, and that was that basically. But I will say that the weller did fight us every single step of the way, digging the foundations, or rather not the foundations but the flagstones, you know, removing the topsoil. It rained quite heavily, and then when I got the floor, or rather the floor joists in place, it decided to snow. I put the OBS down, it decided to snow a bit more. I put the roof up, it decided to rain. Then it decided to get like rather windy when I was putting the felt down. So as I said, it's just the weller's just fought us all the way. Or you could look at it another way and think that I'm a total idiot for starting it in winter, which I wouldn't disagree with you. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. So that was the driving force that like kind of pushed us. That the main driving force at least. So I think subconsciously, I've also kind of been gearing myself up to maybe start doing woodworking a bit more, how to put it, basically doing more of it, you know, for people, making furniture for sale, and carrying out, you know, work in people's houses. So just before the Christmas, and I have been expecting this for a while, I was been expecting to be laid off from work, and it was only, what, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, I did actually get a phone call, basically warning us that my job might be, you know, in danger, sort of thing. So, you know, I was really been expecting to be paid off. As it happens, I'm still working. They just won't let us go. But I mean, that may come within the next few months. So I think, as I said, I think subconsciously, not that I was aware at the time, I was kind of just gearing myself up, get myself prepared, you know, to be able to do things more efficiently, to make better use of my time, and not have to worry about the weather. So I think subconsciously that was something that was driving us as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the materials and the hows and the whys and whatever else. So the floor, as I said, is made with 6x2s or 2x6s, depending where you live in the world. So really, it probably would have been better to use some 8x2s or 2x8s. So recommendations here in the UK, I do believe if there's a span of, you know, somewhere around, I think it's 10 to 12 foot. Again, if I'm wrong, somebody please leave a comment and correct us. But I do believe when you're spanning somewhere in the region of 10 foot, you're supposed to be using 8x2s or 2x8s. So that's just basically to take the sag out of it. So I didn't do that. I used 6x2s, and the reason I use 6x2s is because directly in the center of the floor, I've actually got supports that's going down to a pavement stone or a flagstone, and there's gravel under there. Obviously the topsoil's been removed, so that's kind of the reason why I've done that. Obviously the spacing of the joists are all on 2 foot centers. I will say though, in the center of the 4 foot sections, if you will, because obviously I've put OBS boards down, so where you've got the joints, obviously the board is 4 foot, so in between the board, the 2 foot center, that's actually not supported in the middle. So it's in the middle, and on the outside, yes, and on the outside, it's actually only supported at 4 foot centers. So I thought this would be enough. To a degree it is, don't get us wrong, to a degree it is, but I think there is like some still a little bit of flex, maybe a little bit too much for me. It doesn't seem to be too much of an issue when I'm recording things and I'm banging about. The floor doesn't seem to move too much, enough for it to cause any major movement on the camera, because obviously I do plan on doing a lot more videos, because obviously I've got the space. I don't have to worry about the weather now, so I do plan on doing like a lot more videos. But as I said, in between the 4 foot centers, there is like a slight bit of flex. So I'm debating on whether to get some more OBS and basically just sandwich the existing OBS with the new OBS, and just kind of stagger the joints, you know, so everything's like kind of opposites. I'm not sure how to describe it. So for instance, where the camera's situated and where I'm situated, the joins in the ply are actually running parallel to myself. So what I would do, I would get the new OBS and basically just cross the seams, if that makes sense, and obviously apply some screws, and I think that would probably solve the issue. Again, it's not too much of an issue. It might just be me like being pedantic, but the way I'm kind of looking at it is that I've went to all this trouble and I've paid all this money, which is, you know, for me it is a lot of money. I know, like, not for everybody, you know, some people might be watching this and thinking, you know, it's not a lot of money, which I'm going to get the price in a little bit, you know. But I thought, if I went to all this, I kind of want to try and get it like kind of right, or, you know, at least near right. So another thing, what I've done on the supports, what a lot of people haven't seen, and there was a few people that actually commented on it, is that where I've put the supports, or the legs, if you will, I've actually notched them. So if you can imagine the two ledgers that run the complete length of the shed, and obviously you've got your joists that are coming across 90 degrees. So the notch actually sits underneath the ledger, which supports obviously the joists, and I've screwed into the joist from the outside through the ledger and fix it that way. And I've also screwed and fixed to the joist as well. So when I've actually notched it, I haven't actually come all the way through, and I've left, I think it's about 10 millimeters. I've left 10 millimeters shy, maybe 15 millimeters, I can't quite remember now. And basically what that's for is, so, or at least this is how it works in my head, no water's going to get into the end grain. So I think there was a couple of people that made like some comments and saying, like, are you kind of not going to fix it to the ground? I've never seen it done like that before. Isn't your wood going to rot? Shouldn't you have treated the wood? And I will say, I should have treated the legs, or the stilts, whatever you want to call them. Definitely should have treated them. I will highly recommend, if anyone is going to try or do that method, to treat them. That being said, the last shed that was actually in place of this one, I've done exactly the same thing with that, and obviously when I took the thing apart and I was looking at the condition of them, they were totally fine. I was actually a bit surprised, to be honest. I wasn't expecting them to kind of be as well as what they were. No sign of rots, and they look totally fine, totally fine. So, you know, with that shed being up, I don't know, maybe 4 years, something in that region, about 4 years, I decided to go with it. So it's not fixed to the ground. I didn't see the reason to fix it to the ground in any way, shape or form. You've obviously got the weight of the shed, and obviously all the materials in it. There's always going to be wood in here. There's always going to be a workbench in here. I'm currently sitting on some seats that come out the back of my van. These are seats that belong to a bongo, a Mazda bongo, and these weigh an absolute ton weight as well. Obviously, you know, you've got all my tools, all the me clamps and whatnot, so you know there's a lot of weight in here, and I really just don't think that we get enough wind where it's actually, you know, going to move this shed. You know, ironically we've just had a lot of bad wind up in Scotland. I believe they were getting 100-mile-an-hour winds. We didn't get it quite as bad here in the northeast of England, but you know, as I said, we don't, here in the UK we're very fortunate, and we don't get like things like hurricanes and, you know, all the bad stuff that can really, you know, do some damage. We're quite fortunate we don't get that. So the winds we do get, I'm just not worried about, you know, this shed moving. So the roof is again 6x2s. The reason I went for 6x2s, I think there was someone that asked why didn't I use something a bit smaller. The reason I didn't use anything smaller, and also the reason that I've done exactly the same, I've put them at 2-foot centres, is because if you were standing in my house, not right now, but during the day, if you were standing in my house and you were looking out of the bedroom window, the spare bedroom window, you would be able to see maybe half a dozen of sheds that are very similar to this one, and they've all got like dips in the roof, and I'm probably guessing, with a little bit of research what I did, because I was wondering why the roofs were so bad, because some of them, or most of them, look like they've been purchased offline. Basically they come like kind of part assembled, and you get, you know, people get them and then they bolt them, like, you know, erect them, bolt them together and stuff. And when I was looking, there was quite a few of these sheds that had 4-foot centres. So, you know, 4-foot centres with a roof joist, and that kind of, you know, that kind of explains why, you know, there's big dips. And the issue with that is when you start getting dips in a roof, obviously the water starts to pool, and you know, anyone that knows water will, you know, it'll find its way, you know, back down to the ground, however it does it. You know, it's water will find a way in, and basically, you know, through time, the felt or whatever sort of roofing they've got on there will most likely you know, deteriorate, and obviously water gets in. If it's OBS, it'll get into the OBS and it'll just start expanding it. OBS will start rotting, so on and so forth. So kind of that's why I went with that. Obviously the roof joist, I put 12mm OBS on it. I didn't see the need for 19mm or 18mm 3/4 inch OBS, which I did use obviously for the floor. There's going to be no weight going on the top other than snow, and we've already had some snow, ironically, when I was building it. Totally fine. So, you know, I think that's kind of enough not to worry about it. So I did insulate this. I did use polystyrene. There was some polystyrene boards that are available from, I think B&Q does them, and Wixers definitely does them, because that's where I bought them from. And these are just basically polystyrene. The reason I went for polystyrene is sheer cost. So by the time I actually got to this point, you know, this was actually just growing arms and legs, and, you know, kind of you know, just snatching money left, right and centre. So those were £10 a sheet, 4x8. They were a total nightmare to get in the van. Ironically, the day I got them, it started blowing a hooligan. Wind was really bad, so you can imagine me trying to put 4x8 sheets in the back of my van when the wind was going mental. The issue with them is that the damage really easy, they snap really easy, which I kind of found out in the car park of Wicks's. Big sheets of, there's polystyrene, kind of like just blowing its way around the car park. Me running around like an idiot trying to salvage them, get them into the van, which I did. So what I did actually have to end up doing, I literally ended up snapping them in the car park. I didn't have no tools on us or anything. I suppose I could have went back in and kind of used or all that boards, something to cut them with, but I was just having one of those days, and I ended up just like literally using the side of my hand and just basically just breaking them, which, to be honest, I didn't do too bad of a job because there was very little waste from doing that. I suppose I was quite lucky. I can't really comment on how the polystyrene's performing, because obviously I've still yet to do the roof. I don't think I'm going to do the roof in polystyrene. I think I'm going to kind of get some Kingspan or equivalent to Kingspan. There is some sheets you can get. I think they're about £20 a sheet. I may be able to get them cheaper. I'm obviously going to have to look online. I only need 5 more sheets approximately to get the roof done, so I can't really comment how the polystyrene's doing, because I'm most likely going to be losing a lot of heat out of the roof. So I kind of not going to know how well it's working until I kind of get the roof done. So it's going to be the same sort of thing. I'm going to get the roof done, insulated, all that, and I'm just going to put some sort of board on it. I don't know if it's going to be ply or OBS or whatever. It's going to be something, and it's just going to be exactly the same as this, or my side walls. I'm just going to paint them white. So the reason for painting this white, it's got nothing to do with aesthetics. I'm not really bothered of how it looks. This was just more to reflect the lights, because my eyes aren't great. And the idea behind it was that in daylight, or the daylight that's coming through the 2 windows to my left, it's going to help to bounce the lights or reflect the light around, which ironically doesn't work too well. It does seem to work really well when the LCD lights are on. It really helps, I will say. So obviously I'm hoping once the boards are in the roof, and then those boards are painted white, it's going to help even more, I hope. But as I said, I'm not going to know till things get sorted out. So cost. This is going to be ballpark. Obviously, I've never wrote. I've never took receipts. I just kind of, when I needed to buy something, I've just went out and bought it. Obviously, I've been keeping a rough tally in my head. Obviously, I don't want it growing arms and legs, but it has already grown arms and legs. So for the wood, the 2x4s, sorry, the 2x6s and the 2x3s, OBS, I have spent, and the tongue and groove paneling as well. I've spent approximately £1,000 on that. So that was, I believe that to be 70, I want to say 75 tongue groove boards. So they were like 16 foot in length. Can't quite remember the width of them. I think they were somewhere in the region of like 112 millimeters, something like that. So, you know, just, you know, about a 4.5 inch. So the 2x6s, there was 22 of those. And I also got 22 of the 3x2s. So I did use some 3x2s from the shed. I also used all of the OBS sheets from the old shed. Most of them were in pretty good nick. So, you know, I can't quite remember how many I've used from there. I think it was, I bought about six sheets of OBS, brand new 12 millimeter, 1/2 inch, and I think I bought about maybe 4 sheets of OBS at 3/4 inch, brand new, and obviously the rest I did get from the shed, the old shed that is. So the insulation was approximately £100. That's not including the insulation I've got to get for the roof, or ceiling, if you will. That's what's that? That's going to be like nearly another £100 approximately. The felt. Felt was 21 poundish, 22, something like that. I had to get 4 rolls, you know, so there's like, what, there's nearly £90. I spent somewhere in the region of about £70 to £80 on screws. Yes, you heard that right, £70 to £80 on screws. And I think this is what people don't realise. People that are buying furniture from myself. Not that I use a lot of screws in my furniture that I do sell. You know, people don't realise what little things like that cost. You know, when you start adding up the cost of screws, the cost of glue, you know, so on and so forth. It does actually add up, and I was actually shocked, you know, because I was buying X amount of screws, and I said to myself, when I need some more, I'll just go out and buy them, and that's what I was doing, and I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it, how much, you know, or rather how fast I was eating up the screws. So it was mind-boggling, it really was. So the paint, I already had the paint, so that didn't cost us anything. This time, obviously, I did pay for it. I can't remember the cost of it. That was pretty much a full tub. I've still got the outside to do, to paint, that is. I did just buy some exterior paint. That was £10. That was for 2.5 litres. That was clearance from Screwfix. I did buy some paint for the door, which is a different colour. That was also £10. I'm going to use that for the fascias and the soffits as well. So I'm not too sure what all that tallies up to. If someone wants to leave a comment, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment and let everybody know how much this has cost us, and let me know how much it's cost us. So What have I still got to do? As I said, I've still got to insulate the roof, put the boards on the roof. I've got to paint the exterior. I've also got to do the electrics as well. At the moment, which to be honest, I don't think is going to change a great deal. I am powering my lights with Bluetti. For those of you that don't know what a Bluetti is basically just a brand of solar generators. A solar generator is kind of just some batteries with an inverter and some USB sockets all crammed into a very small box. I don't know if you can see it, you probably can just see it, it's in the top corner. I've had that for the last couple of years, can't fault it. That's one of three I've got. So obviously the reason I like these is you can basically, you know, I can use them in here, I can take it outside and use it, and I can put it in my van and use it. Obviously because it's self-contained. I did actually make one of these a while ago. I think I've done a video on it. Having said that, I do have some batteries, some lithium batteries. I bought some battery cells from AliExpress some time ago, the BMS, and I obviously made myself a battery out of the battery cells. So I mean, I could put that in here. You know, add an inverter and such. I have got a spare inverter that's lying around. So, I mean, I could possibly do that. I am going to put some solar panels on the roof. I think I'm just going to put maybe like 200 watts. I don't need a great deal in here. Obviously, I'm going to be running the lights. The lights will probably be on, you know, maybe until the summertime during the day. I do have these on if it's a dull day. Obviously, you've got to. If it's kind of a bright day, it's not too bad. I think summertime I shouldn't have the lights on at all. You know, until later on in the day or night time. So. Other than that, I think there's only kind of like charging like batteries for my cordless drill. I do use my cordless drill from time to time, and obviously I've got my cordless track saw now, so that does kind of that's a quick charging one. It does kind of eat the batteries up depending on the size of your batteries. I think that like draws 400 watts, and it's like fast charge. It's 45 minutes to charge it, which is quite cool. So I don't really see the need to be kind of, you know, covering the whole roof with solar panels. I still have this bench to finish off. This was, or is, a Nicholson bench that I made maybe 2.5-3 years ago. And it never got finished. quite sadly, it kind of just got shoved into the corner of the old shed, and everything just got chucked on top of it, quite sadly. So I do need to finish it. I have been using it, but I do need to add some dog holes in the aprons and obviously on the bench top. So I can use the hole fasts. I was debating on whether to add a vise. I'm leaning away from that. I think I'm probably just going to add a crotchet or a hook, depending on where you are in the world and how you know it. But basically, where a vise would be situated, traditionally that is, on a workbench, there is what's called a crotchet, and it's basically, you can just wedge boards into it, or, you know, if you're edge planing, you can wedge the edge of the board into that, so when you're pushing along with the plane, it's basically acting as a stop on the side of the apron. Obviously this will be complemented with some some pegs, you know, to stop, obviously to stop the board from falling down. I'll be honest, I've never used one. Any sort of bench like this in the past, when I was in college, there were very similar benches. All those had vices on them, and my very first tall bench I built, I put a vice on that. That's got a record, I think it's a record 51 or 52, I can't quite remember. So I think I'm just going to go with that and see how I get on. Worst case scenario, I don't like it, and I'm going to take it off and put a vice on it, but I really don't think I will. Obviously, for those of you that have followed us any amount of time, you know that I've managed quite well with just the Roman workbench, some wedges, pegs and holdfasts. You know, I don't really see us changing too much with that, but who knows, maybe I will. So another thing I'm going to do, because I've got the Festool track saw, and because I want to make one, and because I love making workbenches, as again everybody knows that follows us, I love to make, you know, all kinds of benches. I'm going to make a Pollock bench, a Ron Pollock bench. I've known about these benches for pretty much as long as I've been about. I did originally think to myself, wouldn't it be great to have a big massive like workbench or a work table. Obviously now I've got the room, so I did initially think about building an 8x4 kind of table, and obviously that's where the Pollock bench kind of pinged in my head. Obviously I thought, wow, yeah, you know, just make one of those. You know, it's going to be massive, and who doesn't like a lot of space where you can do stuff. So I did actually think that, and I was, for maybe a couple of weeks, that was the plan, to move forward with that. But then obviously I started cutting these sheets, OBS sheets for the side of the wall. Obviously these sheets are 4 foot by 8 foot. So unfortunately it kind of kicked us in the butt straight away that it wasn't going to be viable to do that. Especially since I wanted to keep my Nicholson bench. I didn't want to get rid of the Nicholson bench, so I did a bit more research, and I found out that during all the lockdowns and stuff, Ron Pollock had actually redesigned it. He'd made it smaller, and he found that, you know, he was able to you know, do all the cuts he needed to do. Basically break down a sheet of ply or MDF or whatever, 4 foot by 8 foot. He was able to do that on a bench that's approximately 3 foot by 6 foot. So that sounded a lot better to me. Obviously it's not going to take up as much room. You know, it's a foot less in width, and it's 2 foot less in length. So that doesn't sound a lot, but in a small space it can be everything. So I am going to go with that. I also thought it would be a good idea, because I'm going to be able to experiment on it. So I've got a lot. And I will say this, I've got a very lot of experience with dog holes, you know, how to use them, you know, efficiently, in getting gear or material clamped down. Same again, anyone that's followed us for a long time, they will know I have got a lot of experience with this. So I thought it would be a good a good experiment to kind of see how I get on with like an MFT sort of style table, and kind of try to use it, you know, more towards me hand tool woodworking. Obviously I know it's got its limitations. I don't think I'm going to be able to use it in the same respect as what I can use a Nicholson bench. Basically, you know, I'm not going to be able to, you know, mortise and tenon on it, or all that, you know, chisel away the mortises. I think any sort of, you know, downward force using a chisel and a mallet, I think that's going to be problematic on that style of bench. But again, that style of bench wasn't designed to be used, you know, with hand tools. It was designed to be used with, you know, a track saw and whatever else. Where obviously a Nicholson bench, you know, it's true, tried and tested for hand tools. So I did think it was like, you know, kind of a cool experiment to do. So I am still going to go forward with that. Worst case scenario, I give the bench away to somebody, which ironically I did have to do with 2 benches. I got rid of 2 benches. The sawhorse workbench, I had to get rid of that. I was a bit what's the word I'm looking for? Not mad, not upset. Kind of, it was a little bit disappointing, I probably should say, to get rid of it. I did give it to my brother, and the reason for that is same again. It's like it's just too big. The footprint of the sawhorses, you know, I can't quite remember what the length of them are, but they were just too big. Originally, when I was kind of planning things out in my head, not using a tape measure, you know, just roughly in my head where I was going to put things, behind where the camera is actually situated, that was going to be where the sawhorse workbench was going to be. I had no intention at all of getting rid of it. I really like that bench. I like the vise system on it. Again, for anyone that doesn't know, the vise basically could be fitted anywhere around the bench on the edge, and that's how it was designed, and that worked really well, and that's what I really liked about that bench. And it was actually very sturdy, and obviously it could be broken down and carried into the garden, and that was one of the reasons I built it and designed it that way. You know, summertime I could just take it out and set it up, and that's what I was doing. But I mean, I probably still could have done it in here. I probably still could have, you know, every day I could have, you know, kind of set it up, put it away. But, you know, I thought to myself, if I need to have it up and down, up and down, up and down, I'm just not going to do it. You know, I'm kind of, it would have went anyway if that had been the case, and I think that would have been the case. So you could argue the same with the Pollock bench, but the thing with the Pollock bench, I hope I'm saying that right, by the way, as well. But the thing with the Pollock bench, is that it's literally, you know, the top, I can literally lift the top off, and my plan is to actually have a couple of dowels fixed to somewhere, probably somewhere over a ladder way, and I can basically just put the top of the bench on the onto the pegs, and that's it. It's going to protrude from the wall. I think it's about 10 inches, 11 inches, something like that. I can't quite remember the measurements, but it's something like that. So, you know, that's kind of not a big deal. And obviously a couple of sawhorses in the shelf section, and those actually fit into the top. So I think setting it up, I think it's a lot quicker and obviously taking it down's a lot quicker than the sawhorse workbench, and you know, it's going to take up a space on the wall, and it's going to, you know, protrude by 10 inches. It's kind of a no-brainer. And obviously that bench is going to be more geared towards you know, the using the Festool track saw and all this stuff. Obviously being able to, you know, having multiple holes on the top, being able to you know, having that, being able to use the Festool clamps, track saw clamps, those work really well with it. So I think, you know, again, sadly, you know, that it just had to go. I also had to give away me medium-sized bench. So anyone that's been watching the video series on building this, which I will leave a link for the playlist if anyone wants to check out the build. That medium-sized bench, I basically cut everything on that bench. All of the joists got cut on that bench. The OBS didn't, but all of the framework got cut on there. All of the notches in the joists got cut on there. Just for anyone that is wondering, this saw behind me here that I'm pointing to, that pretty much cut everything in here, pretty much. I do believe I used my little Ryoba saw to cut, I don't know if I used that to cut the notches, quite possibly, but everything got cut to length with this big guy here. As I've said multiple times, if you haven't got a Ryoba saw, go out and get yourself one, you won't be disappointed. Those things are awesome. And even with me back the way it is, you know, I'm still going to be using these saws day in and day out. They're just too good. They're too good not to use. You know, unfortunately, for the longer cuts, you know, that's what that saw is for. I mean, I'll be honest with you, if my back was in better condition, I probably wouldn't have bought that, but you know, it kind of is what it is. So what am I liking? So I'm really liking this log burner to keep us warm, because obviously as of recording this, it is winter time. So really liking that, and this was just a cheap camping stove. It's obviously, it's not something you would put in a house. I think I paid about 140 poundish, something like that, a few years ago, and it's had very little use. So really liking that. It does heat the space up, even though the roof isn't insulated, and I am most likely losing a lot of heat out of the roof. It does warm the space up. I do really like having the wheels on the bench. The wheels on the bench are absolutely awesome. You know, I'm able to move it about, you know, anywhere I want to. That's really awesome. Obviously the wheels on these seats, again, these seats will fold down, and I can just, you know, push the seats out of the way. And if I stop, you know, for a quick cup of coffee or a bite to eat, I can literally pull this chair, you know, turn it around and get literally like in front of the fire, you know, or leave a chair where I am sitting now, and you know, I'm getting a lot of heat from the log burner. Obviously the tools, everything's out, everything's in view. I've talked about this before. One of the major dislikes, nags, problems what I have when I'm doing any sort of woodworking is looking for tools. It's been the vein of my life for a number of years now, but as you can see, everything's in view, everything's, you know, in arm's reach. Same with the clamps as well. I'm really liking the clamps. I can see everything. I'm not scooting about trying to, you know, search for things that have fallen on the ground and buried amongst wood and sawdust and shavings, and really liking the organisation. Okay guys, so I'm going to call it for today. If you've got any comments, any suggestions, anything I could do to make this better, there's most likely a lot I could do to make this better. I'd love to hear your suggestions in the comments if you are watching this on YouTube. And until the next time, I shall see and speak to you guys later.